بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. اللهم لا سهل إلا ما جعلته سهلا وأنت تجعل الحزن إذا شئت سهلا. والله تعالى أسأل أن يجعل نياتنا خالصة لوجهه الكريم. I praise Allah and I ask Allah humbly to raise the rank of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his kind al and companions, and protect his nation from that which he fears for them. Barakallahu fikum for the great effort and your dedication to come and attend this Dawrah, as for the past 30 years it was the custom, and many of you have attended in the past out of a strong passion for knowledge and acquiring the knowledge. Subhanallah, I will start by welcoming you all, as the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam taught when he taught ahlan binasihati Rasulillah, biwasiyati Rasulillah. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam ordered to pay special attention of taking care of the students of knowledge. What you are doing is great and is remarkable, especially when it is coupled with the proper intention, so that you would reap the entire benefit and the entire reward. Subhanallah, I will not be mentioning anything that you do not know. Rather, I will remind myself and I will remind you of very pertinent and very essential and strategic matters and very serious matters. During this Dawrah, you have already heard a further meaning of the methodology that we follow here at AICP, that was passed to us by Sheikh Abdullah rahimahullah, when he told us al-ilmu hayatul Islam, al-ilmu hayatul Islam. And we heard an explanation of that subhanallah, over the years, starting by Prophet Adam, Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala revealed him, and with the message of al-Islam, he taught the people the creed of al-Tawheed and how to worship Allah properly in an acceptable manner. And over the years, that knowledge started to become weakened among the people. So Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala revealed other prophets and other messengers to renew that goal of al-Islam, because this renewal is the life of al-Islam, to renew that message. And until Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who is the last of the prophets and messengers, he came and arrived to renew that goal of al-Islam. And why this is so? Because this is the path of the winners. This is how the people who will be winners in this life and in the hereafter, this is the path that they would follow if they adhere and remain steadfast to the creed of Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, and they die adhering to the correct creed, and especially those who die as meritorious people, as pious people, abiding people, they shall have high ranks. Subhanallah al-Azim, Allah Azza wa Jal decreed that we, the Muslims, during this journey of life, we get inflicted with many hardships and afflicted with many calamities. And subhanallah al-azim, the history is full of that. Yet, deep in our hearts, we know that we are promised, we are certain of the victory of Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah. And we know, we have learned the lessons that we need to endure, we need to be patient, and we need to be steadfast to the rules of the religion. In the process, we need always to follow the example of the prophets by reviving and calling the people to the knowledge of Islam. And this entails the ABCs, as you know, for all of us to master the personal obligatory knowledge of the religion, to take it from trustworthy people, trustworthy teachers who themselves have taken it from trustworthy teachers, all the way back to the Prophet alayhi salatu wassalam. Allah bestowed upon us the blessing of meeting a scholar such as Shaykh Abdullah al-Harari, may Allah raise his rank, who taught us the proper creed and the methodology, and who paved the way for us, and who instituted for us an organization and a setup to be a vehicle for many good deeds that we can perform and do as individuals and collectively. And anyone who is fair and who has the vision would realize that this association that really started in Lebanon in 1983 as an organization, but actually it started long time before. You would know that Sheikh Abdullah, he was teaching before coming to Lebanon, and he was preparing people. I tell people, small stories here and there. Once Hajj Umar, rahimahullah, rahmatan wasi'ah, he used to live in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, and I used to live in Riyadh, so I was visiting him in Jeddah and wanted to pray Al-Jumu'ah. And usually, as our sheikhs know, and over there, because of the prevalence of the Wahhabi school, we don't go early to the mosque out of fear of hearing, things contradictory to the creed. And so we stay behind until the very last, and then we go and we perform the prayer. So one day we miscalculated, and we ended up going there early. So we went inside the mosque, and we looked at each other that, oops, now what are we going to do? And so we sat, and then a young man, he stood on the pulpit, on the minbar, and he started his speech. He had red hair and well-dressed and well-groomed. And mashallah, he was very particular about his terminology. And he was choosing his words very carefully, as if he was one of our own, one of the people who have studied that knowledge. We were so delighted. After he finished, I went there to speak with him. I told him, my name is so-and-so, and our sheikh is so. His name is Sheikh Abdullah al-Hari. He smiled. I said, this is your sheikh? I said, yes. He said, I used to be a young boy back in Homs or Hama, and the older people in the community, Sheikh Abdullah used to take them to teach them, and they used to grab me by my hand and take me there to listen to these lessons. But Sheikh Abdullah had planted, mashallah, the knowledge long time before that. But in 1983, that institution came about as an organized body to take care of many other institutions that are important for our work nowadays. And because we need to spread the knowledge of Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, and we need to defend the religion of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the methodology of the Prophet, especially at times and days that the fabricators are numerous and the people who wear masks, and it's easy for them to pervert and to deviate from the religion, either in protection of their own egos, because they are drowning in their own ignorance. The set of priorities are not clear for them, and the passion for this world, subhanallah al-azim. You will find any fair person who has a good vision would realize that this great association, who is spread in the 7 or 8 continents around the world with major institutions, and are teaching and widespread, and they stand tall, they fear no one in the way of supporting Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala. They don't allow anyone to block their efforts, subhanallah al-azim. This is the way for success. This is why in this institution we exert every effort that we can to invite and attract the people over, so that we can win their ears and their hearts, so that they can listen to the correct methodology and the correct creed, so that they would be saved, and so that this religion would be victorious and will be triumphant over the enemies of Al-Islam and those who do not wish Al-Islam and the Muslims any goodness. What is happening in Gaza today is an ugly, abhorrent picture that makes our hearts bleed. And one of us would sit and say, subhanallah, what else can I do but to supplicate and make supplications to Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala? This is what most of the people do. But there is an added matter over here. We need to realize that we are in a battle between the people of truth and the people of evil in this world. Subhanallah al-azim, the people of evil, they employ every bit and every piece to defeat the Muslims and Al-Islam and to spread their falsehood. And they have many grudges and many blatant accusations and lies and fabrications that you hear them over the media. They tell lies, just blunt lies. And you hear them, subhanallah, and you see some of them, they have control over the financial institutions, over the judges, the legal system, over the education institutions. At will, they remove heads of universities, and they employ their strength through institutions, and they dictate their power. This should tell us that we, the Muslims, we are smart people, and we need to compete on every front. We do not reciprocate. If those ugly, abhorrent people, they slaughter and massacre children and older men and women, we, as you know, our children tells us, if you go to the battle, don't kill a woman, don't kill a child, don't kill an elderly man. We are not criminals in that sense. We have rules for engaging in battles. We love for others the goodness. even whether a person is a Jew, a Zionist, a Nazist, or whatever, we would love to teach him about Al-Islam and to convert him and to teach him what is goodness. And we'll keep doing that. And at the same time, we are very courageous people. We do not hide behind our fingers. Our priorities are clear. Subhanallah, just I want to draw your attention, and I want to guide myself as well to realize that the challenges that we are facing are serious, very serious. You can see them today in Gaza. In the history, we have seen them. The people of Al-Ukhdud, the Muslims, they were dropped in dungeons and in ditches, and they were burnt by fire. And so these criminal acts have occurred repeatedly during history. But today, afresh, what we can see in Gaza, and what you are sensing in this country and in Europe and in other places, you feel that there is a threat. It's not a joke. Subhanallah, I'm trying to use this scenario to tell you that each and every one of us should feel that he is carrying a cause, the cause of the methodology of the Prophet ﷺ. You need to think of when you acquire the knowledge of the religion, you are not only fulfilling the obligations and you are focused on the acts of worship, doing it in a proper manner and seeking the reward, but also you are building that power of Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah to carry out the methodology of the Prophet, which is teaching others goodness and defending that religion and growing. And the more you bring about newcomers to the religion, the stronger you are, and you will have an upper hand over the enemies of Al-Islam. We are, and we encourage, as you know, to be very wise in dealing with others. Always we stand tall among the people. We are proud people. Our Prophet is the best of the entire creations. Nobody is going to make us feel ashamed. And personally, I go to the best restaurants wearing my qalansuwa. I go on board the plane. I stand, I pray. Whoever wants to negotiate, industry figures, I argue with them. They know that we are people of knowledge. We know their language. We know we have more skills than they are. And the way we are because we fear Allah, because we are clear in our methodology. Don't let anyone make you feel ashamed. Stand tall and be generous with others. Generous by offering them the knowledge, teaching them, but will not allow anyone to step on our necks or to push us to compromise our religion. And this will come about through supporting the methodology of the Prophet. This is why AICP, mashallah, you have noticed in this country, we started one Hajj back in 1990. Before 1990, Hajj Ali was, he set the grounds for the work of AICP, him and Hajj Ghiyath al-Ashi. And then later on, he guided me to start the legal entity of AICP. And together, we worked together. We never had a place to go and pray Al-Jumu'ah. We used to go to a park over here, and they had statues. Would put whatever sheets on top of the statues so that we can pray Al-Jumu'ah. MashaAllah, now we have tons of centers around the country in the USA and in Canada. We have thousands of people who attend our functions. We have schools, we have mahads. We are about to start a college. We are enhancing our school in California. I don't know, I was supposed to project few things, but probably our technical department, like, mashallah, the door that Sheikh Muhammad was trying to solve for us. This is a joke. I'll tell you about it later on. MashaAllah. We have a huge setup for a school that will increase the number of students that would teach by 3-4 folds, mashallah. Likewise, in California, we are going into a major operation that will triple or quadruple the number of students, and that might get accomplished over the coming 4 or 5 months, inshallah. In Houston, we have been for a while trying to locate a proper location for us to start our long due center over there. In Dayton, mashallah, many of our brothers from Turkey and Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, they came to this country. And guess what? It's not that we have met them over here. MashaAllah, many of them, they have come already. They have learned Al-Qawl al-Jali according to Abu Hanifa through our teachers in the Ukraine and in Russia and in Germany. So they came to this country already learned, and they are joining us and they are teaching people of their own ethnicities. And in Dayton, Ohio, now we see, I visited there, mashallah. Hajji would walk through a strip, mashallah, like if you are on 252, houses on the left and right and all around the block, to media, all of them, they are, our brothers sitting there. It's due, inshallah, to start a school there and to do that. Things are expanding, mashallah, and this is by the sincerity of the people who are working for this dawah and the growth, and the people who are clear, they have a clear vision. SubhanAllah, when Sheikh Abdullah sent us over here, he sent us with the determination that you come and stay in this country, you teach the people in this country. You need to teach the Americans. You need to teach the Canadians. The people of this country, they need to acquire the knowledge and teach it to their own. This is the strategy. Subhanallah al-Azim. And this is what we are trying to do. Sheikh Abdullah told me in the past, he said, cut all ties with back home. Whatever properties you have, sell it, a land, sell it. Just cut all ties. Stay here in this country. And even he gave us directions who to marry and how to marry and to engage, so that the people of the country would learn the knowledge. For subhanallah, we are in need of every effort of every individual. We are in need, as Sheikh Nizar used to tell us, anyone who can give 1%, take it from him. 5%, take it from him. 20% in terms of effort and sharing and participating. For subhanallah, my message to you today is that you need to realize that you are carrying a cause. You are not simply just, living in a country. If you are wealthy, for instance, that, okay, I'll come, I'll attend classes. This is a luxury to me. I'll gain thawab for 45 minutes. I'll go back home. I'll sleep. I'll watch whatever football game, or engage in this and that, or do crochet or participate. And so don't waste your time. Subhanallah, every second that passes you, every breath that you take, if you are not intelligent to spend it in earning rewards and preparing yourselves for the hereafter, then you are bluffing yourselves. For subhanallah al-azim, I urge you to be among the smart people and among the people who will dedicate their time and their efforts to support this dawah, to support this association, to help enlarge the institutions, and to participate in time and effort and money, and especially in mastering the knowledge and to go out of your way to teach it to others. And simply, just if you want an indicator or a measurement of the quality of your work, just each one of you ask, how many new people I'm teaching? If each one would ask himself that question, I think you will know what I'm talking about. Whereas if each one of the people over here, if I was teaching 2 or 3 individuals, new individuals throughout the year, then probably in a year out of this audience would have 2,000-3,000 newcomers that would learn the religion and would work with us. And here let me remind you of the hadith of the Prophet alayhi salatu wassalam that was narrated by At-Tirmidhi, and I heard Sheikh Muhammad give that lesson to our Turkish brothers the other day. And the hadith states, بادروا بالأعمال سبعة, that is, engage in performing the acts and actions of obedience, the prayers and the fasting and performing al-hajj and acquiring the knowledge and teaching it to others, before you encounter 7 matters. هل تنظرون فقرا منسيا, which means, are you waiting to encounter a poverty that you would become poor and live, poverty that would shadow its sadness on you and its burden on you, the burden of acquiring a living and supporting your children and supporting your wife, and therefore taking you away from the pleasure and the content of performing the obligations, and take you away and distract you from these matters. Why don't you engage in the good acts of worship before you encounter something of the sort? And you see among ourselves many people who would be rich and all of a sudden they would turn poor. Subhanallah. وَغِنًى مُطْغِيًا. This is in reference to the person who has wealth. Are you waiting for a moment when you acquire so much wealth that would drive you in the direction of committing sins, as it is well known to many, just by observation? Most of the people who have a lot of wealth are inclined to commit sins, because sinning many times require money, a financial ability to go and commit certain sins. If somebody is poor, he cannot commit certain sins. Don't wait for a situation where you would be similar to a person who has a lot of wealth and who is distracted and inflicted with committing sins as a result of the wealth. Very few people, subhanAllah, among the wealthy people who do use their money entirely in supporting the religion of Allah and spending it in good ways. أو مرضا مفسدا. Likewise, a person would encounter a sickness that would also ruin for him the pleasure of performing the acts of worship with content. Somebody wants to rise from a sujood, standing up there, and as he lifts his shoulder, pinches him here and the other one, and his back aches and his knee would betray him, and that would put some bitterness in his heart, and he would lose some of the passion and focus for the prayers. I remember even our brothers, I heard Sheikh Samir once, Sheikh Nabil was telling us that Sheikh Abdullah asked him and Sheikh Abdul Razak, he looked at them while he was sitting, he said, can you stand up now using your legs only? Like, you know how some people, if they are sitting down, they can just stand up using their legs. Sheikh Nabil said, yes, it's easy. I said, do it. So they did it. They stood up. He looked at them. He said, now I cannot do it. He was teaching them that, subhanallah, now you can do that. Make use of the time. Do perform the acts of worship when you can. Don't wait for a time when you will not be able to perform because of your illness, because of the pain, because even some of the illnesses would prevent you from doing certain things, going to Hajj or fasting or the like. Or haraman mufannida, which means an old age. Are you waiting to encounter an old age? At the old age when a person turns senile and he loses to some extent his mental capacity for Alzheimer's and not recognizing now how to sort out things and how to perform and how to teach. Don't wait for that. Make use of your time before you encounter such a thing. Or a death, mawtan mujhiza, a death, a sudden death that will occur. You see people, I think, just death when it visits, when it comes, sometimes a person would drop dead. Are you waiting for such a time? Make use of the fact that you are alive. Make use that you have learned. Make use that you have institutions, you have schools, you have platforms that you can work in to perform acts of obedience. Or are you waiting for a Dajjal, an evil that is expected, an evil who is going to appear, and he does over extraordinary matters that would bluff people, extraordinary matters to substantiate his evil. He would split a man in half and bring him back together, and many other things that people, when they see such extraordinary matters, they would believe in him. And some of them, those who believe in his message and his call, they would blaspheme. Are you waiting for such hard times that you would encounter? Work now. Or, subhanallah, the day of judgment, and the day of judgment, are you waiting for that before you start working in your good acts and obedience? You shouldn't, because the work is in this life. Back then, khalas, we could be out of the realm of accountability. The deeds are here. This is where you need to perform. Subhanallah, I'm reminding you and myself of these matters. In this life, many of us are hiding behind maybe fingers. Many of us may be in dark rooms and in lightly lit corners, commit sins and surrender to desires and passions. Many of our young people are drowning in activities over social media and what have you that would drown them, would drain them from any good time to use in a fruitful manner, subhanallah al-azim. On the day of judgment here, you hide out of fear that you will be exposed before a handful of people. On the day of judgment, the person whom Allah willed to expose him will be exposed the entire creations. Subhanallah al-Azim. فما شاء الله, Allah yubarik fikum. Enjoy that we belong to the ummah of the Prophet alayhi salatu wassalam. Remember that the threats are serious. The threats are not a joke. The threats are not about you as an individual only, but rather your children, your grandchildren, your neighbors, your beloved ones. Subhanallah, we need to stand tall. We need to work collectively. We need to work diligently and intelligently and sincerely to deliver the good work, inshallah, to come out victorious. And as our teachers taught us before, that some people, they go, they pass, they die, and nobody would remember them. And some people, they die and they pass, and you can see their traces, subhanallah. How many of you have, if you said Umar ibn al-Khattab, how many of you know how he looks, how tall he is, how much money he had, what is all of these details? You don't know, but you know what he left behind, how he supported the religion. When you say Umar ibn al-Khattab, you know who is Umar ibn al-Khattab. The traces of his work remain. Likewise, Abu Bakr and Uthman, MashaAllah, and Ali, and the great scholars, Al-Shafi'i, Abu Hanifa, Malik. Those people, their traces are evident. And some people, they lived and died, and there is nothing left of them. And some people, may Allah protect us, like Pharaoh and other people, we don't want to be remembered as such. Barakallahu feekum, may Allah protect you. And I'm very glad, subhanallah, and this is something that slipped my mind actually, to welcome Sheikh Muhammad Bakri to our Dawrah. Sheikh Muhammad, I'm not going, I wouldn't dare actually to speak good words about him, because he is, mashallah, too humble for that. Sheikh Muhammad, and I've known him, I joke with him, and sometimes, you look how old I am. Probably when I met him, I was maybe 23 years old in the house of Sheikh. But you can imagine how old he was back then. Sheikh Muhammad, at least he will allow me to say, I've seen him over the years, very close to Sheikh Abdullah, always accompanying Sheikh Abdullah, reading, writing, studying, mashallah. And over the years, Sheikh Muhammad, he earned his PhD, and now Sheikh Muhammad, he is one of the major fruits whom Sheikh Abdullah left behind for us. He is one of the legacy of Sheikh Abdullah, the orchard that is filled with delicious trees and of different flavors. Inshallah, many of you, when you finish your education and you are ready to earn your PhD in Sharia, don't be surprised when you sit down and you will find Sheikh Muhammad Qaratira is the person whom you have to defend your thesis before him, because this is what he does nowadays. He is Muhammad Bakri, mashallah. Allah yubariku fikum. The reason I'm mentioning this, because truly I love for you, in as much as I love for myself, acquiring the knowledge. Don't miss the golden opportunity of acquiring as much as you can from Sheikh Muhammad Bakri. Allah yubarik fikum. This is a treasure. Make use of it. وبارك الله فيكم. نهلل ونصلي على النبي. لا إله إلا الله. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد.